Rude in Boone.
Hey, Chapel Warriors, it's Tammy here. How is everybody doing tonight? I'm so excited to be here with you guys. It's been a while since we've done a live, and I'm so excited because we have with us Henry Ball, author of the book Michael Chappell is Innocent. And of course, we have Sean Kipe as well, the voice behind In the Land of Lies podcast. And I know y'all are so excited. You're going to want to hear all about that updated episode and what's coming next Monday. But first, we're going to talk a little bit about the boxes. The last time we spoke, there were 7 boxes of information that had been sealed for 30 years. We were planning to go to court. And then the judge said, hold on a second, we want to get in those boxes. And so I know many of you have been waiting just to hear about that. So Henry, tell us a little bit.
Yeah, so there's a lot eventually to be told, but there's not a lot that I can tell just yet, other than to say that the boxes have been unsealed, and we have gone through them, myself, the attorney, and there's a lot of information there. I'm actually going to be writing an article about one particular thing that we've talked about quite a lot in this in the group and in the podcast, that some information has come forward, but there's also a lot of stuff that the attorney still is trying to figure out how much of it he can use, how much of it's admissible in the current situation, and so we just can't disclose all of the details. But I can tell you this: we understand the reason why the boxes were sealed in the first place, and it wasn't because it was national security, and it wasn't because they were trying to protect Michael Chappell. So that's what I can tell you.
Surprise, surprise, right?
Surprise, surprise.
Yeah. Well, that's good to know. So there's some things coming out that are going to be beneficial for Mike, and we'll find out about those later. But, I know that everybody since July has been talking about our live event in the Land of Lies. I mean, that was a phenomenal event. It was a great turnout. We've actually got it on video recording now, so people can watch it that missed it. But one of the things that I loved about it was to just be able to get people to talk and to bring up Paralead, to bring up, I can't remember his name.
Kendrick Guy.
Thank you, Kendrick Dye. Just to be able to hear from other people that are now involved and, standing up for what is right, and to be able to we pulled another episode together right there, And so now we've actually got an updated episode with some great things. If you haven't listened, you certainly need to do that. And of course, we're going to have another episode this coming Monday, the 23rd. But Sean, I'm going to throw it to you right now. And you tell us a little bit about what you got going on there.
Well, in regards to what?
The podcast, all of that excitement. You and Henry got together and did that. So y'all want to talk a little bit about it for the people that actually haven't listened yet?
Yeah. If you haven't, you should have by this point. It's been out for 7 hours. You should have heard it already. No, I just thought that Henry and I have talked for a long time since the end of the podcast. I mean, there's so much material, so many things that have happened. As Henry shared a lot of the stuff in the Facebook group, and there's so much we could have done another season. There are several different reasons why we haven't, but one of those is things have kind of moved so quickly. And it would almost be like you're just trying to put an episode out every week or every, other week. And for me, I can't do that, but we wanted to take an opportunity to, because so many things have happened, because so many people have come forward, we wanted to update people and say, hey, look, like stuff really is happening. And not just the people that are in the Facebook group and that are active in that, but the people that have listened, there's millions of people that have heard this story. So we wanted to also put it out there that, like, hey, look, this is working. Things actually are happening. Mike has an upcoming court hearing habeas hearing, and these witnesses have come forward, and their stories are actually credible and important. And so that's kind of what we're doing. I mean, we started off these 2 episodes. Henry and I just sat down and had a chat, and kind of just talking the way that we typically do when we talk about Mike's story and the things that are happening, but for the benefit of people who may not know or be privy to all this information. So we've got one more coming out next Monday. And there's I think it's almost an hour long as well, Henry. I can't remember, but I mean there's that much content to talk about. So I hope that the next episode that comes out is us talking about Mike coming home and or at least at the habeas hearing. So
absolutely. I cannot wait for that. I know y'all all feel that way. Henry, where were you about to go with this?
Well, I just noticed a question I wanted to address. Somebody asked, they said, just curious if those boxes look like they had been opened previously. I want to address that. Actually, no, they didn't. They had been sealed properly, and they had the original seal order on them. And what's funny is one of the first things I picked up out of the box was something that has absolutely no legal justification for being in the box. It's one of the things that I kind of have already shared and talked about, and it was the statement by Sergeant D.E. Stone on the night of Mike's arrest, because what was supposed to be in that particular box was the Northside Precinct report and the Morgan investigation and things of that nature. And so there was nothing on the order for sealing that box that said anything about, witness statements and as far as Mike's alibi and things of that nature. So I wonder why that was sealed. Of course, then I read it and, I don't wonder why they sealed it. They sealed it because they really couldn't have the jury see what D.E. Stone said on the night of Mike's arrest. And it's exactly what the fireman said. It's that Mike was at the firehouse until 10 o'clock. And so, so there's a lot of information in those boxes that are going to be very helpful to us in the very, very near future. One of the things that Sean said, is why we're not quite ready to do another season. Well, part of it is that we have this information that we really can't even put out there yet. There's certain things that we can't put out there yet because it's so critical and so crucial to Mike's defense. And it's such a fine line that you have to walk between what is admissible now, versus what is no longer admissible. And so we've really been having to kind of go through that and, okay, well, this is related to this and this is related to that. So that's how we can hopefully get it in. And so there's a lot of that happening. And I think that a lot of it is going to bear fruit. And a lot of it is going to, I think, persuade the judge that at the very least, as Sean has said many times, Mike didn't receive a fair trial. So, right. and I think that's the goal.
Absolutely. There's a question here wondering about those boxes. Were they not the same boxes that our armchair investigator was able to look at? No, they are not.
That's correct. They're not. Sean and I looked at a lot of the evidence that Pamela Holcomb was able to look at. That's the evidence that's at the district attorney's office. This is actually at the clerk's office, and it's those files that they told Judge Bishop, hey, this is either ongoing investigations or sensitive information that they said was unrelated to Mike or to Mike's defense. And the judge ultimately said, okay, and sealed it. And so now, we're looking at it wondering, how is this not exculpatory, or at least a potentially exculpatory, which is the legal, the legal bar that we need to reach, because it doesn't have to be fully exculpatory. It just has to have been potentially exculpatory. And if that's the case, the defense had a right to it.
Yeah, somebody else is asking, questioning about the people that may have seen the event at the American Inn. I mean, obviously, there's probably going to be more people. Who's going to come forward? You've been trying to track people down for a long time, and I know you have had people come forward in different arenas. Do you have anything that you could say to that question?
The question of people at the American Inn, Sean did a great job of kind of pulling out the information that we absolutely know about the American Inn. And there may be more to it, but it's not stuff that I'd be willing to discuss right now, because there are people that don't want their names out there, don't want their information out there. What I can tell you is that there is a handwritten note by Jack Burnett in his case notebook that says at least 2 witnesses saw Imogene Thompson at the American Inn on the night of her murder. And we have talked to those folks, and I think it's pretty well established that at some point she was at the American Inn.
Right. Somebody's asking too about Tukey. Where is he right now? Is that something that can be disclosed? I would think that's.
I don't know why we would need to disclose where he is or anything like that. But I will also say you need to listen to the upcoming podcast as well.
Okay. Sean, what were you going to say there?
No, I just was going to say, when people are curious about things like that, and I know that the sort of answer that we have to give sometimes, maybe even more frequently than we want to, is, well, we can't really discuss that. Or, there, like, for example, there are, as Henry kind of said, there are other people that have come forward and that we've spoken to who were at the American Inn, who saw Imogene. But you have to remember how important this is right now, this habeas for Mike. I don't want to say it's his last chance, but in many ways it is. And I say that only to tell people how important this hearing really is. I mean, that's why we are all pushing so hard to, raising funds for his attorneys, and just, okay, let's push back the hearing that he's had scheduled. That was really hard for him.
Yeah.
To say, okay, I've got this date. We've been working for a year. We've got this, just with the attorneys for a year. We've got this hearing. I feel good. And then the judge wants to unseal the boxes, and it's kind of like, but okay, it makes sense.
Yeah.
And so, it's very difficult. We have to do this right. And I know Henry and I both want to tell everybody everything that we know, because if you think that you are convinced of Chappell's innocence with everything that you've heard, and you should be at this point, let's be honest, there's more.
Right.
But we just don't want to take the chance of blowing it or giving, you hold your cards close to your chest sometimes. So, I just wanted to say that about.
Well, and you don't want to be the one that accidentally leaks something that messes it up for him being potentially that final opportunity. You certainly don't
No,
want
you do not. I don't want to be that one.
Right. So we have to tippy toe, and we have to do whatever we have to do. We're being asked again about what that habeas hearing, what does it look like as far as an outcome? What no trial, immediate release, whatever. I know that we've talked about this before, but if you can kind of go back over that from that legal front, how does this look for him? What are the possibilities?
You want me to answer that, Sean?
Yeah, you're a little more schooled in that with.
Well, I'm not an attorney, but as I understand things, and I certainly have, to some degree, done my homework, and I've had a lot of conversations with the attorney as to what the possible outcomes are. I would say that there are 3 definitive possible outcomes. The first one would be, as Sean mentioned, not positive, would be that the judge basically ruled on some technicality and said, we're gonna keep the status quo. That is a possible outcome. I think it's the least likely outcome, to be honest with you, but it is a possible outcome. Another outcome is that the judge could vacate the sentence, meaning, he could vacate the sentence and find that Mike had not received a fair trial, and so he could vacate the sentence without prejudice. And if he did so, that would mean that it would go back to the original jurisdiction, which is Gwinnett County, and the current Gwinnett County district attorney would have 30 days or 60 days or however long the judge determined to bring new charges against Mike. And in that case, he could possibly be released on, a bond, or, they might send him home with an ankle monitor, as they've done in some of these other cases. There are ways that he would immediately come home if that happens, but he would still have the potential of being retried. The third outcome, what we would hope, to happen, and I think there's a real possibility that this would be the outcome, is that the judge rules a vacation of the sentence, or vacates the sentence with prejudice. And with prejudice means he finds that there's credible evidence of Mike's innocence, and therefore Mike is exonerated and he would be free to go.
From your mouth to God's ears, right? Yeah, we pray that, and we got to claim.
If I'm the one to speak that into existence, I'll speak it into existence. But I do believe that there is a very real possibility that could occur.
Yeah, and I'll say this too. You talk about one of the possible outcomes is that Mike would get another trial. In my eyes, if that happened, if he actually did go to another jury trial, I'd be celebrating, because there is absolutely no way in hell that in 2023, 2024, that Mike Chappell, that anyone would be convicted based on the information that was presented in this case. I mean, and with all, just how muddy the water is and everything that we've brought out, but I don't believe, and I've spoken to many people smarter than myself that just say the same thing. There's no way that a jury in today's age, because let's face it, juries today, I want to say, are a little bit more schooled in how these kinds of cases go, and it's almost like, not to say, well, so many more people are true crime fans, but they are. And through that, they've heard so many cases, maybe not similar to this in particular, but people have their eyes open a little more, and they need to be convinced, truly convinced, not, well, man, this trial could go on forever. Let's just, he'll get out on an appeal, which was something that was actually said in Mike's trial, so to me, that's a win.
Well, yeah, to that point, I think if it does go back to Gwinnett County, I don't believe that Patsy Austin Gatson would retry Mike. I think she might take most of the time allotted to her by the judge, and then she would say, dismiss the charges, in which case Mike is exonerated. But if it did go to trial, as Sean was just saying, two things would be vastly different. Mike would have adequate representation, and it would be a much better educated jury, as Sean was saying about things like this. So, no, I don't think there's any possibility Mike would be convicted in today's environment.
And by the way, somebody just said just donated $100. I can't see who it is, but
thank you so much. Yeah.
Let's see. Another legal question here. Do we have individuals who have been in the DA's office under Danny Porter's leadership who have weighed in about this? Might be sympathetic to the situation.
I'll let
you handle that one, Henry.
Well, I have talked to people that have been connected to the district attorney's office, or have been connected to Danny Porter's office. And Sean and I both have had kind of a funny and negative experience with someone or some persons that were connected to the DA's office. But I would say yes, there are also other people that are sympathetic to our cause, and there are people that have expressed that they believe in Mike's innocence that were connected to the DA's office. I'm not going to go into any detail about any of them. In fact, I'm not going to go into any detail, but yeah, we've heard from people in a positive note.
And not just the DA's office at that time, but currently the police, the police department, the sheriff's office. I mean,
fire department,
and some of those you heard in the podcast, but there are people that have reached out to us and, said, hey, I don't want to be identified. Here's what I know. And here's what we were told. And here, it's crazy. And you run into this dynamic of people who, I get it. If it's your job, if you still work for Gwinnett County, you've got to be very careful about coming out and saying something that is going to go against the grain, because your livelihood is at stake. We know that these people are willing to blast people and threaten them, their jobs, their livelihoods, their families. So I get that, but that doesn't change the fact that there are so many people that have reached out and just said, man, like, you guys are on to something here.
Well, and not even people that were involved back then. I'm getting hit with people all the time. My husband, actually, we were at the Duluth Fall Festival and somebody came up to my husband. I'm assuming that they saw the two of us together at one point, but said, hey, we're listening, we're following, and I've had all kinds of people just coming and asking, what is the latest update? What is going on? We are praying. I actually ran into someone from Loganville, another vendor from Loganville last weekend. And the first thing she said, what's going on? Have y'all made it to court yet? She was the vendor that was right next to us last year at Loganville. So people are listening. They're paying attention. They're wanting to know. They are sympathetic to the case. I'm hearing more of that than I hear anything negative.
Yeah. I mean, and I was just talking to a retired DEA agent who now works in the private sector just yesterday. And he's out in LA traveling for work. And he said, man, we were talking about this case and some of the other projects that I've done. And he said, I even hear people that have heard your projects out here. I mean, you just are on the plant, the airport, you strike up a conversation and whatever. So, this stuff's gotten around. We've got a lot of support. I think Mike clearly has more support than he's ever had. And that goes a long way for him and how he feels day to day. I spoke to Erin recently and just checking in on her and the family and Mike. And, somebody is just saying, let's get everybody in Buford involved. And
can I say something about that one?
Yeah.
Yeah. So last year we did the Buford Holiday Parade, Christmas parade. And so we were in Buford and we had a great opportunity. We wanted to try to be in the belly of the beast, so to speak. And then we were accused of being activists. And so we were cut off. But the way I look at it is we made a statement as we walked through town and cheered, Michael Chappell is innocent. People knew when we left who we represented and what we felt.
And it was overwhelmingly positive.
Yes.
The other thing I want to address, somebody said, will the public be able to attend this habeas hearing as was going to be the case for the last habeas hearing? Yes. It will be down in not Long County. What's the
Little
county?
Little.
No, it's Long County is Little Wissy, but
a T. It starts with a T.
Tatnall.
Tatnall County. Yeah. Sorry. Yes, it'll be in.
We're all going to get it.
Yes, it'll be in Tatnall County. We will let everybody know in the Michael Chappell is Innocent project, and we will proclaim it far and wide. And we would love for as many people as possible to show up to show support for Mike. And so that hopefully will be happening soon. And as soon as we're able to let you know when, we will. And we want everybody to join us down there.
Absolutely. So,
yeah, I just want to say something real quick about that too. I am planning to, we've kind of been working on this and it stopped obviously when the date got pushed back, but I am going to cover that hearing, and I'm going to try to do live episodes of the podcast and just cover it live. So somehow we'll figure that out for the people who are out of state, out of town, whatever, can't make it, because it is a hike. But if you're able to be there when the day comes, they're giving Mike the biggest courtroom they have, because they're expecting, with the public interest in this case, to have that. Let's show up and fill that room.
Yeah, somebody asked, do you think it's likely that it could be next year? I mean, obviously, we don't know where they're going to put it on the calendar. Yes, the holidays may impact things as they affect every court case. But, I mean, we're hoping and praying it's going to be this year, and it looks like we probably will be, correct?
I can't say one way or another at this point, because we are getting too close to the holidays. Unfortunately, I wish I could say, definitively, but I can't. I don't know to be able to at this point.
Yeah.
And the reality is, at least I feel this way. If you get too close to the holidays and you're in between Thanksgiving, Christmas, I don't know that you want to have your trial then, your hearing then, because I feel like a lot of people sort of start checking out. Thanksgiving comes around, and you don't want that. You want people in it and paying attention, and so we all want it to happen tomorrow. But if that's the case, where they said, December 15th, I don't know that that's better than waiting, unfortunately, another month.
Right.
No.
Right. Hey, 30 years, I can't say it like it's my experience, but you've been in there that long and you are right there on the cusp. I mean, I can't imagine the emotions that are going on, but just like we said at the beginning, we don't want to mess anything up, and whatever it takes for that date, God's assigned that date, and we know that it's going to be good. And that's what we're going to claim. I'm supposed to get an amen right there.
Yes, yes, ma'am.
Hallelujah. All right. So on the legal front, we have done well. We've got our awesome Dragon Slayer Billy, attorney on everything. And we've done well up until this point, funding what we owe. But going forward, we are going to have other things that we are responsible for. Can you hit on that a little bit, Henry, so people kind of know what to expect there?
Yeah, we told you guys a little bit about what happened with Chris Robinson. He was the expert that we had hired that was actually going to be able to do our ballistics and our blood stain analysis, and however you technically say that. And he passed away literally the day before we were all supposed to go to the district attorney's office together. So we've had to emergency replace him, and it's kind of multiple disciplines. So we've engaged with multiple experts, and they are, in their process of evaluation and studying the crime scene photos and the autopsy photos and studying the crime scene. And so we've got to pay them. We've got other legal expenses, and, frankly, we've gone well past the original year that we had talked about with Billy. So, we've got to continue to raise funds. We absolutely, as a group, did a fantastic job of raising our initial commitments, and we've met those. And you guys have been awesome and very, very much appreciated. Since Sean put his post out the other day asking for urgent donations, we've raised another $3,000 and something. So, thank you, Sean, and thanks everybody for donating to that and for continuing to support the Michael Chappell is Innocent Project. And we've got a few miles to go, but we've done extremely well so far, and we're going to do whatever it takes to get there and see this man come home, hopefully sooner than later. So continue to support us, continue to do what you can. You see it there on the screen, donateforjustice.com. At this point, the fight organization is 100% dedicated to Mike. We may have other missions in the future, but until the Michael Chappell mission is accomplished, that's our mission.
Yeah. Well, the holidays are upon us, as we just talked about, and Thanksgiving, we talk about being a blessing, being a blessing. And wouldn't it be a blessing to say that you helped free Mike, whether it's through a prayer or it's through a donation or it's through sharing this group, it is through word of mouth, getting something out there to benefit Mike. You want to be a part of this. So if you haven't done these things, if you're just kind of watching it on the fence, jump in with us. We need everybody. We need every one of these members in this group to jump in. And like it was said in there, $2, guys. If everyone in the group gave $2, look where we would be, right? $14,000 we could raise. So I know, let's think about being a blessing as we approach this holiday season and put our efforts into Mike even more. Now, we're going to have something fun this weekend to do too. It is the Loganville Autumn Fest. If you've seen the announcement going through, it is going to take place in downtown Loganville this Saturday from 10 to 4. Of course, Henry's going to be there. I will be there. Whoever else wants to come and join us, please do. It's a time of fun for your family, of course, but it's also a time to get to meet Henry, hear a little bit more about the book, understand the story, and then to help us get the word out. Okay, folks, it is all about sharing and sharing and sharing and sharing. So if you can come be one of the voices with us, we would so appreciate it, and we would love to meet you.
Absolutely.
And as we close out, I just want to say, how grateful we are for everybody in this mission, and that we appreciate and covet your prayers for everyone that's involved in helping bring justice for Mike. And pray for Mike, pray for Aaron, pray for Chad and Chelsea and everything they're going through, because they are on this roller coaster that none of us can even imagine. And our prayers work, and we're going to get them through it.
Sean, real quick before we finish up, why don't you update everybody on what you've got going on otherwise? What's coming up next, or what can we look forward to?
Well,
as much as you can share.
Yeah. We have obviously another episode, part 2 of the bonus updates coming out next Monday. When you wake up for work, it'll be there. So please listen to that. Love to know what you guys think of that. And obviously the support. There's also a new bonus update, very similar to what I've done with and what we've done with In the Land of Lies updates. Wednesday the 25th, I think it is, in the Red Clay. I've got another update episode of that, which is it's pretty interesting. And if you've followed that series as well, this is a continuation of season 2, and it's pretty interesting.
Looking forward to that.
Yeah. So, other than that, I'm working on a new project, and of course, always trying to keep plugging along with this project and this case until Mike's home. You guys, I know this podcast I created and everything, but so for me to say, hey, go share it and tell people about it sounds a little I don't know what the word is, but
it's not.
Go share and tell people about it, please.
Yeah, but what that does is, because people want to have things recommended to them by people they know and they trust their opinions on things. So when you guys go and say, hey, listen, this story is crazy, holy crap, this guy, you're not going to believe this, listen to this story, and you start that dialogue and get that interest going, it only helps get Mike's story out. Then maybe they turn it on to somebody else, and that brings possible more donations in for Mike's legal fees. I mean, it's grassroots as it can be, this whole campaign. I mean, so I appreciate you guys listening and sharing these projects that I do, and certainly this one, because it's very real and important to me, important to Tammy, Henry, and all of you. So thank you guys very much. I think that's all I got.
Thank you, Sean. And we know you wouldn't say it, so we'll say it for you. You're the best podcaster on the planet.
That's right.
And we're proud that you did In the Land of Lies, and we look forward to everything else that's coming up, man. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
And everybody, if you haven't shared it, share it.
Yeah. Y'all have a good night, and we hope to see you on Saturday.
Have a good night. See you Saturday.
See y'all.